Oceanic Cup player's house. I'm gonna try the Wooting 60 HEV2, the same keyboard I used during the session that broke Osu history. Let's go.
Yo, what's good? How's it going, bro?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, bro. Is that the new Wooting?
Yeah, it's the new Wooting.
Can't wait to play with this.
Yeah, dude.
It's kind of heavy though.
Yeah, low key, it's pretty heavy. So yeah, we're just gonna go straight into playing with it. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Alright, let's jump right in.
The 60HE V2 comes with adjustable actuation, rapid trigger, an 8000 Hz polling rate, and the new Le Critique switches, giving it that premium feel.
What are your first impressions?
Dude, low key, this keyboard is so smooth.
We're kind of assessing right now. Bro.
If you would like to check out the Wooting 60HE V2, links are in the description. Also, I'm running a tournament called the Oceanic Cup where Wooting is currently sponsoring the event, so make sure to check that out too.
Yo! No way!
That's the keyboard, baby. That's the
Bro,
keyboard.
That's the keyboard.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Oceanic Cup. I'm Maps, and today we're going to be having our last match of the weekend. It's going to be Maybelle, formerly known as Treyarch, going up against Saiyku here today. Should be, well, has the potential, I would say, to be a relatively decent match, but I would say on paper here, Maybelle probably looking like the heavy favorite, especially looking at qualifier results across the board. Picks and bans, a little bit up in the air, but I will say the likely picks here for Saiyku are going to be these hard rocks, looking pretty solid on the hard rocks in qualifiers mainly, and not too much on anything else. Being number 2 on hard rock 1 and on hard rock 3. For Maybelle though, also very confident on the hard rocks. Number 3 on that hard rock 3, number 1 on DT3, and several number 2 scores as well. So Maybelle looking very, very good. A player that was very solid in tournaments back in the day, and is kind of finally coming back into them now, and is looking in form. So curious to see how they will perform. But here we go. Are going to be getting our... Is that first pick? Or are they bans? Okay, it says pick, but I'm assuming that they're bans that we're seeing so far. Okay, looks like, yeah, they weren't bans. Weren't bans or picks, just overlay problem. But yes, so I'm looking at here, probably, like I said, heavy favorite's gonna be Maybelle. One of those players, he can play, like, every skill set, pretty much. Pretty much, I don't think he struggled with in qualifiers was Hidden 2. And I'll say the Hidden 2 this week is fairly reading intensive, so that might be something both players want to stray away from. Saiyku's not going to be confident on that either. But it's looking like Saiyku, of course, is going to want to pick these hard rocks, and Maybelle, I would say, is going to be fairly favored on most other things. So looking at possibly hard rock bans from Maybelle, but we will see as we get into picks and bans here shortly. And I'm going to be joined by none other than Gammy here for this matchup. Gammy, how are you doing?
Yeah, so sorry. I was muted. I didn't know I was muted.
Oh, you're good.
It's a pleasure to be here, Mavs. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I just came from like some weird incident So I'm kind of in a daze right now, but hopefully that shouldn't affect the cast. What's been happening while I was, busy getting my way here? What's been happening during this matchup?
Nothing at all. So we're just getting into picks and bans
so
now.
I didn't miss anything. This is
No.
great. It's great.
Nothing
It's
at
great.
all. So,
I believe this is a Aussie versus New Zealand matchup, right? I do believe that this is
It is. Australian is maybelle, and Saiyku, of course, hailing from New Zealand. And we already see our picks and bans, or we're seeing some bans come through here. Saiyku getting rid of that hidden 2. Fair enough. Maybelle himself, probably like one of his least confident skill sets, but still able to play maps like that. So Saiyku getting rid of it, which makes sense. And then Maybelle going to be getting rid of the No More 2 speed pick, which Saiyku very solid on speed as well, and getting rid of the Hard Rock 1. I was expecting the double Hard Rock ban from Maybelle just because Saiyku is so strong on Hard Rock, but does opt for the No More 2 ban instead. And then also Saiyku banning out goes for the double hidden ban, gets rid of the hidden 3.
I definitely think that these 2 hidden bans are coming from a place of, Saiyku's respect for Maybelle's hidden, right? It's one thing for that, and I think the other thing is also, as you mentioned before in your analysis, I think Saiyku just is a player that sort of prefers to lean away from the hiddens in general. But of course, Maybelle knows this, and I believe Maybelle is gonna open up this matchup with a hidden 1 first pick. So we're instantly going to be off the races, and it's going to be this hidden 1 to greet these players, to escort these players into the grid of the match. This hidden 1 is all about that generic aim maps. I don't think there's anything too special about it. I do believe the aim itself is a bit awkward, but other than that, just some standard hidden 1 shenanigans.
Yeah, pretty much. Mostly fairly standard. There's a bit of anti-aim in here and a couple strange overlaps, but I mean, if you play even a little bit of hidden, you are going to be completely fine. Going to be Maybelle's first pick after the double hidden ban from Saiyku. This one should be quite heavily favored towards Maybelle. However, it is an aim pick. Saiyku absolutely could pull out a break point here. And early on, he does have the ACK lead, but FC's still on the board for both players. And this map also, Gami is pretty short. There goes Saiyku at the halfway point, not where you want to be missing, especially now with a little bit of a slower section. But there goes Saiyku again with another miss.
Yeah, and you mentioned before the length of this map is definitely going to make the scoreline from Maybelle soar in favor of the left side as they hold a lead. But Maybelle is going to find a miss, not going to get too far to 60k score lead, and it's going to start to shift in favor of Saiyku as he now holds both the combo and the accuracy. I do still think there's enough time, but that only is determined if Saiyku could hold that combo, and unfortunately he just cannot. Maybelle is now going to once again snatch back that combo lead back into his hands, going to the last quarter of the map. It's a 90k, it's going to grow to a 100k scoreline, and I think Saiyku honestly put up a very, very good fight on this hidden. I think this is definitely one of the more accessible maps in the pool, yes, but the fact that he gave Maybelle such a hard time on a hidden map, I think should be something to be proud of. But yeah, Maybelle's first pick, that's definitely how you want a first pick to go, right? Something consistent, something decisive.
Yeah, it was looking very doable, as you said, for Saiyku at that point where he had like 98.5%, was building up a bigger combo than Maybelle. He absolutely had time to bring it back, but just unable to hold on to it in the end. So 1-0 to Maybelle, exactly what he needed to start things off. Gets that hidden pick out of the way. The whole hidden pool is gone. We're going to be seeing no more hidden for the rest of this match, unless we see a hidden on that tiebreaker. But Saiyku now going to be looking at these hard rocks and also a bit of tapping, as we saw the No Mod 2 ban from Maybelle. But tapping still, I mean, Maybelle's going to be able to play this, especially at a round of 16 stage. He can kind of play every skill set. But of course, I think Saiyku's biggest strengths are, of course, the hard rock and the tapping. So it makes sense here to go for this DT2. Very stamina intensive, quite a lot of finger control, a lot of quads and doubles in here as well. But at around a 16 stage, I think both these players' skill cap's going to be more than good enough.
I think it's one thing to talk about skill caps. I think the other very important thing to talk about is the accuracy, right? It's especially the case for a double time such as this one, where it's not just raw speed, right? There are a lot of stream shred sections, but of of course, there are also a lot of doubles, a lot of quads when we get into the KIs for these players to have to contend with. So accuracy is definitely going to be key. And Maybelle's going to be the first one to find a miss. Not the end of the world for them right now, but instantly we get to see an indication of their overall comfort on the speed. And with a 2% accuracy lead going in favor of Saiyku, early stage prospects definitely going in favor of the right side.
Yeah, I mean, this is a surprising start here for Maybelle. He did incredibly well on the double times in qualifiers, but maybe just warming up into the tapping here. Saiyku, though, on the accuracy is going to have quite the heavy advantage so far. Not too short of a map, not too long, so still time here for Maybelle to pull things back, but both players getting through these shred sections quite comfortably. Bigger combo, of course, here on Saiyku, still holding onto the full combo, 99%. That lead is quite convincingly in his favor. Drops a little bit of accuracy there. Pull things back over a little, but not too much. He's going to stay at about 100k lead and growing. As Maybelle does his best to pull things back, he needs to hold this combo.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit about the comfort, but in fact, if you look at Saiyku's cursor, I do believe that their cursor is slightly more shaky than the likes of Maybelle, and with Maybelle stabilizing that combo, it does look like, you know, they're just a looming threat waiting for Saiyku to find a miss. But the question is, will we even see that miss? We're going into the second half of the map. We're going to it's going to be another bout of KI. It's going to be one more KI before the ending. And you know, that's gonna be where the decisions get made. It's a 200k score lead in favor of Saiyku right now, so it's not out of the question for Maybelle to steal the scoreline, especially with how fast DT scorelines can run. But with that, we're moving into the final KI. Once again, another bout of shred, another bout of quads. Doubles come to attack these players, and yet Saiyku is just looking to run that consistency through and through. I mean, it just goes to show how strong Saiyku is on his strengths, right? When sticking to his guns, you can never go wrong with speed and Saiyku.
Yeah, and that is going to be more than enough to seal it at this point. Saiyku, just whether or not he can close out the FC there, especially with this miss from Maybelle, will go ahead and seal up his first pick. Can he pull home the FC? The near 99% Saiyku on the tapping is never to be doubted. A very, very strong player on this skill set, and does seem to have closed it out. I think that is the end of the map.
Yeah, indeed.
It is.
Yeah, no, I think similar to losing that hidden one for Saiyku, there's definitely a pick that, you know, we're definitely leaning very heavily towards one side. And speed is definitely one of those things, right? As even in the earlier SRs where you said either you can or you can't, either you're comfortable or you struggle. And I think for going up against, especially going up against a player like Saiyku who's so incredibly gifted on tapping mechanics, definitely just something that Maybelle can look at and go, well, let's just gear for the next pick. And what do you think that next pick is gonna be? There's no more hiddens, so Maybelle's gonna have to find his points from somewhere else.
Well, he's spoiled it off rip, but it is gonna be the No Mod 4.
No stalling, no stalling.
Yeah, no stalling at all. I think, I mean, this was a pretty expected pick. It's gonna be things like No Mod 4. He's still got No Mod 3, 5, 6 all in the back pocket as well. So they're all gonna be great picks for him. D4 is an interesting one, a little bit up in the air for me. I don't know who picks that and who necessarily wins on it. I think both players will be very good on it. But yeah, I think, you know, Maybelle's still got at least 4 more picks in this pool that should be quite good for him. But this is going to be one of them. Very, very strong tech player. So this should be quite heavily Maybelle favored. But again, these maps aren't too crazy difficult just yet. Saiyku is going to be able to play this, but how well is the question.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're just doing some combo building right now. Some additional background context of this No Mod 4, of course, right? It's just a map. It's a slide attack map with a lot of big streams, and of course, as per tech map, features a lot of aim control for these players to contend with as well. This is also an OS original. It is a OS original from the Dash Open. I believe one of their custom, one of their original songs as a No Mod 4. But enough of that to be said. We're going to get into the first KI, and instantly we get to see what the true grit of the map is. It's all going to be about these large sliders, and with that, Saiyku is going to be the one to draw first blood on the No Mod 4. Maybelle going to run ahead with the combo in his hands. And with a 1% accuracy to boot, Maybelle is gonna be generating a pretty sizable lead, looking to squeeze out as much score as he can from the set lead. Moving to the second half of this KI, and Saiyku is, you know, very far behind right now. 400 combo lead in favor of Maybelle, and you know, sooner but later that scoreline is gonna become more and more dangerous.
I can definitely tell he's practiced this map as well, and some funny slider ticks here and there. You can definitely see the way they aim these sliders, who's practiced. And yeah, I mean, this really is just everything you want if you're a tech player. It's got every skill set, and Maybelle is showing exactly why he is to be feared on tech maps. Saiyku again to find a miss, and Maybelle does find a slider break there on the tail end of that high velocity slider, but follows it up with another miss. But it is still roomy here, actually, for Saiyku. Accuracies are mirrored, pretty much exactly the same, and it is a 65,000 point lead for Maybelle moving into the slow section. Saiyku with the combo advantage, so there is going to be time here, actually, for him to pull this back.
Yeah. I mean, Maybelle losing a lot of that accuracy. The accuracy was what was keeping Maybelle confidently in the lead, but now that things have equalized, you're right, Mavs. There is definitely still time for Saiyku to bring it back. But of course, his combo has been quite a bit shaky going into the first KI, so, you know, question marks are in the air as to whether he can improve. You know, he definitely needs a better showing in this next KI if he wants to steal it back. But for what it's worth, a lot of equalization has happened during that slow section. A 41k scoreline separates these two players, and in fact, Saiyku now being the one with the accuracy lead. So by holding a lead on both aspects, Saiyku is definitely looking for an aggressive final KI, and here we go, full swing into the final KI. Once again, nothing that we haven't seen before on the map, right? All gonna be about these large sliders, albeit these sliders are more so focused on slider shapes. So as you can see, circular sliders are all the rave. And as we move into the last quarter of the map, Saiyku is still continuing to hold and beat up against that scoreline against Maybelle, and slowly but surely, that scoreline is looking to flicker.
Yeah, this is all gonna come down to whoever breaks first. It is so damn close, and there goes Saiyku. It was a 10k difference, but Saiyku misses. Maybelle building up that lead now, and I think if he can hold on to this for just a couple more seconds, it should be done and dusted, and I think that's enough. 50k lead into a slow slider. It looks like Maybelle will probably be taking this one more than likely. Saiyku coming so scarily close to getting a break point on a tech pick. Maybe showing up today more than I was expecting from him. But yeah, I mean, in the end, Maybelle will take it.
Yeah, I know. I guess another thing to talk about, of course, is the SR, right? I think the SR is low enough to be a force equalizer on a lot of these picks. And I think, you know, this No Mod 4 performance is definitely a byproduct of that. Unfortunately, not quite enough. You know, the consistency just wasn't there to topple Maybelle's score. But, you know, on another day, if he just lost out on one of those misses, you know, if he had 2 misses instead of 3, the accuracy, I think, would have definitely been enough to, you know, allow him to cross the line and win a point there. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And, you know, I do still think Maybelle have one more pick up their sleeves before things become really interesting. Still think that they could go for that No Mod 6 later down the line for another easy point against Saiyku, but definitely the decisive picks are going to be slowly but surely evened out. And the same can be said for Saiyku's side, as he, you know, picks as expected, goes for yet another double time pick, this time being the double time 3.
Yeah, and this one's interesting because out of all the tapping maps this week, you know, excluding Hard Rock 1, you know, No Mod 2, DT2, DT3, this one is like the most kind of coin flip, I would guess is how I would describe it. Pretty much like the whole first 2/3 to 3/4 of this map is mainly just triples. There's a couple of quints thrown in there, but even at 285 BPM, this is very approachable for like most players, even players that aren't that good on speed. So it's very potentially going to come down to if anyone finds a random miss in like the first 2/3 of this map, because a lot of this you should be comboing, especially these players. So the ending does pick up a little bit more in difficulty, the bursts get a little longer, and that's when the actual speed check starts to come into play. But for now, you can see, like, it's mainly just triples with a quint sprinkled in there, so both these players should be able to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, the best way. Oh my goodness!
Oh, no.
He's gonna be the first one to go down, and look at the accuracies. It's a complete reversal of what we saw from the No More 4, right? In fact, the player that was seen to be favored on the map actually is the one running an accuracy deficit, and a huge deficit at that. It's a 5% ag lead going in favor of maybelle, and I don't know, man. These double time score lines, they move extremely quickly, especially with the extremely short drain of this map. Maybelle is gonna look to grow that scoreline exponentially, moving to the second third of the map. Seeing as though Saiyku finds yet another miss, the mental must not be good, Mavs.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good spot for a pause for maybelle. The confidence you would have seeing that score gap, you kind of feel like it's already over if you're maybelle there. You just know you gotta clean up the rest of this, next third of this map, which is still pretty chill, and he's doing just that. This one might already be over, Gammy. I mean, this is a 260k lead, unless maybelle completely fumbles the ending. I'm talking, like, monumental levels of fumbling. This one is probably already done, and yeah, this is the thing with this map, man. You got to combo like the first 2/3, because it's only now where the map starts to really pick up and actually starts to test the speed. You can see lots of triples coming up in a row, and the bursts here are going to start to lengthen and actually really start to test that 285 BPM speed. But it doesn't matter anymore. Maybelle's got 1200 combo.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Saiyku only just continues to find misses, and meanwhile, maybelle's absolutely slamming out a massive performance on this map. I mean, it's by nature, you know, it's by nature. This double time 3 pick in this pool is a hidden, an insane diff plus DT. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot more accessible, at least map-wise. It's not a shred map. It's not a map typically intended to be played with DT, right? With the mapper didn't place these circles thinking, hey, I'm gonna make a speed map on DT.
Yeah.
No. This is just an insane diff, right? And you know, when it comes to low SR, this is definitely what we're talking about. This is how volatile low SR can be. A complete reversal of what we expected, a very decisive pick going in favor of maybelle, to the point where, you know, if we didn't tell you, an outsider viewer might think that maybelle was the one that was always favored on speed. That's the thing. But honestly, unfortunate loss from Saiyku on that kind of pick. Could have happened to anyone, and with low SR, I don't think he needs to get too hung up about that loss. But it still begs the question, where can Saiyku find another point? You know, Saiyku now is always going to be running a point deficit. He's always going to be running a break point deficit, and so he needs to find somewhere else in the match to make up for said deficit. But maybelle is going to go for the No Mod 3, not quite dabbling into the No Mod 6 just yet. Could be that, you know, it could be that, you know, he's trying to save that No Mod 6 pick for slightly later on, which I definitely think is possible now that maybelle, of course, has a very, very clear path to go to, you know, guaranteeing 5 points over Saiyku. But No Mod 3 gonna be the next pick coming in from maybelle.
Yeah, and I mean, maybelle still has No Mod 5, No Mod 6. Hard Rock 3 is even a pretty good pick
No
for
Mod
him.
5 too, yeah.
So, you know, for Saiyku, it's rough. I think Saiyku probably opts for something like the Hard Rock 2 on the next pick. The DT1's still open, but maybelle's going to be very solid on the DT1 as well. So it's scary days here for Saiyku moving on. If he can pick up a breakpoint, that's really what he needs. So here we go. No Mod 3 though. maybelle is going to be very strong on a map like this as well. Just raw ult consistency, decent length map as well. Both players should be able to handle it, but you know, of course, I think it's going to be maybelle favored. Very, very good on these types of no mod, unconventional no mod picks, tech, ult, all those sorts of things. But we will see how both players can handle it. These are the types of maps that are super volatile. You could really find a miss anywhere in a map like this. And we'll find out who's going to be the first to fall to that.
Yeah, that's right. As of right now, we're really just waiting for that scenario to happen, right? Both players just at a standstill at this juncture, moving into the second quarter of the map. And the thing is, right, with low SR, a lot of the no mods become very, very accessible. I know we just came back from the no mod 4, so I don't think the no mod 4 isn't a really good indication of that statement. But this no mod 3 certainly is, right? It's unconventional. It's weird to, you know, a standard OS player, a standard solo player. But for tournament players, this is really their bread and butter. Right, control at this SR should, or the no mod 3s at this SR are typically more so test of your consistency on this weird unconventional ult skill set. And as of right now, we're seeing both players just running in at cruising altitude. It's a 99.2 and a 98.7 coming in from Maybelle and Saiyku respectively. So a slight accuracy they're gonna go in favor of Maybelle, but you know the combo is still king here. If any player loses out on that combo, it's going to instantly shift the tide of battle. But as of right now, Maps, we're just talking. Nothing has happened.
Yeah, both players holding on. There's a couple scary patterns coming up in this map I'm looking out for. There's a square that reverses back on itself in the bottom left corner that I'm looking for. That's coming up shortly. I don't remember exactly when, but that's the scary pattern I'm looking at to see if anyone will fold there. So far, both players approaching that 1,000 combo mark. And I'm kind of also that big circle stream, but both players do get through it. I'm kind of just waiting for this square because I feel like it's going to catch someone. But it is to be seen. 3/4 through the map now. Barely anything left. Both players at 1100 combo. And Maybelle doesn't the accolade. There goes Saiyku, and there's a reverse square. It actually doesn't catch either of them, but Saiyku is the one to miss before it.
Yeah, I know, this is just a bout of consistency, right? Maybelle does find a miss, you know, it's never too late to see that miss. But I don't know, man. I think we're just gonna see stagnation on the scoreline, especially given how, you know, both players are very, very similar in terms of accuracy and combo-wise. Saiyku's only up about 990 combos, and not a lot of that lead to be guaranteed for him as we move into the last 8 of the map. The scoreline is slowly but surely shifting in favor of the right side, but the culling is not happening fast enough. And with Saiyku finding that last miss, is going to be the final nail in the coffin for this No Mod 3. Another fantastic pick from Maybelle.
Yeah, and closing this one out here, Maybelle will take things 4-1, and now Saiyku potentially only has one more pick in this match, so he's gonna have to make it count. 2 if he can, you know, pick this one up. He'll have 2 guaranteed, but where does he go? It's really, to me, can only be either Hard Rock 2 or DT1. That, you know, there is that Hard Rock 3, but I don't think picking that into Maybelle is a good idea. So, I mean, there's No Mod 1. I mean, I'm ignoring No Mod 1. I always tend to ignore it. No Mod 1's there. Like, that is an option as well, and that might not be a bad option. But I think if you're Saiyku, you either go DT1 or Hard Rock 2 here. I think I like the Hard Rock 2 pick the most.
And one more thing, right? If he... Okay, yeah, we go for the No Mod 1. Okay. I was gonna mention, if he does go for the Hard Rock, I really like that Hard Rock 2 shout from you, because Saiyku winning that Hard Rock 2 also opens up, or you know, shuts down the possibility of that No Mod 5. So you get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But this No Mod 1 really doesn't do much for Saiyku when it comes to information, right? No Mod 1, the end all be all consistency pick of any tournament, of any pool. And given how the SR is extremely low, considering what these players are capable of, it's definitely going to be one of the more accessible maps in the pool, and so probably going to be expecting large score lines from both of these players. So at the end of the day, it's consistency battle after consistency battle right out of the No Mod 3.
Yeah, a lot of consistency maps being picked in this match today.
100%. Low man, low SR.
Yeah. But it's going to be Maybelle off with a early miss. We'll have to see if that ends up mattering or not. Generally in No Mod 1s, it usually doesn't. Someone usually finds a miss somewhere in a Ki, but we'll see if Saiyku can prove me wrong. You know, this is your classic Sky Flame, you know, 7-star aim map. It really is. 7.3 stars to be precise, so... It's got some interesting sections in it, though, that are kind of a little bit unconventional, but a lot of big aim, as you can see, of course. But not too hard for either of these players, as you were mentioning. They're both going to be really comfortable on something like this. Nothing's going to catch them off guard. So, who can hold the nerves? Who can hold their composure? That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, really, nothing has happened just yet. And once again, composure is going to be very, very important, right? We haven't really seen a lot of that consistency coming from Saiyku these first few picks. And even on the DT3, which he was very, very favored on to win. I mean, he just couldn't hold down that combo. He couldn't anchor his combo down. But this time, we hope that it's different. Going into the next KI of this No Mod 1, Maybelle using a lot of accuracy on those back and forth jumps. But as we move into the KI, Saiyku is going to be looking very, very handsome with a sizable FC and a 99.86% accuracy to boot. Second half of the map, and Saiyku, you know, just off the back of the accuracy, has generated a pretty massive, almost 100k scoreline for himself.
Yeah, it's looking good for Saiyku as he gets through that first, like, really difficult section. Now we get into a couple more bursts, some kick sliders. We have a few streams in here. So some shred, yeah, coming into play. Will it catch either the players off guard? I don't think so. I think the big aim is going to be more what we're looking at, but we'll see if I'm to be proven wrong. And there it is. The aim catches off Saiyku, but maybelle as well. They trade misses. 1/4 of the map left. And because maybelle missed at the start, Saiyku has a 100k lead. I don't know if there's really time now for maybelle to pull this back. He had to hold.
Oh my goodness, it looked extremely perilous for Saiyku, right? When we all saw, my heart dropped when I saw Saiyku in this. That trade up from maybelle was definitely a huge sigh of relief. We're going into the last sections of the map, and I really don't think there's anything maybelle can do but watch as Saiyku escorts this point all the way into his hands. I mean, maybelle's losing out on both the combo and the accuracy right now. He's been losing out on it since the start, so really nothing he can do as we move into the last sections of this No Mod 1. A good pick from Saiyku, I think, but then again, it doesn't really do a lot for the board state, right? It doesn't really open up any special picks, especially given how Hidden 1 has already been picked. Hard Rock 1 is out of, well, actually, I don't know. Hard Rock 1 is all about flow aim, so it's not a good analog. And then the Double Time 1 itself, you know, it's more so density aim, it's more so speedy aim, and it's definitely a far cry from, you know, the aim skill cap, quote unquote, that was supposed to be tested with this No Mod 1. So still a lot of stuff in the air for Saiyku when it comes to where he can find this next point. But the pick is gonna go back into the hands of maybelle, and I think, you know, it's probably a good time to go for the No Mod 6. I don't know what else he could go for.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the No Mod 6 or No Mod 5, I would say. Look, Hard Rock 3 is an option, but I think you save that. I think he has better picks. And that DT4, I really could not call that. That one seems like a massive coin flip. He does pick it, though. Okay.
Okay,
He picks the
we're just wrong.
DT4. That's interesting.
Well, I think this DT4 makes quite a bit of sense when you look at least the context of it, right? I think this DT4 sits at a... wait, what BPM is it? Hold up. It sits around 165 BPM, so it's in sort of the higher end of your typical alt maps. And I think the general skill set of this DT4 at the end of the day is still about that control. It's definitely pretty different from No Mod 3, right? No Mod 3 had more diversity in the aim. There was a lot of emphasis on consistency, whereas this DT4, I think, is more... It's a very short map. It hits under 2 minutes, coming in at 1 minute and 38 seconds, so it's all about this sort of burst, quote-unquote, pop-off control.
Maps like this are super volatile as well when they're so short and they have so many random spots you can miss on. Especially in AR 10.3, like, you just blink and miss one of these patterns because none of this is conventional or normal by mapping standards. And there you go, maybelle's one to miss early, and that will matter because this map is so short, as we were just saying. Low-key, one of the hardest maps of the pool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Saiyku starting things off well. Both players on pretty low accuracy, as to be expected on something like this. But there goes maybelle again. Saiyku to trade it, though. Approaching halfway, and that early miss from maybelle, you can see, has already managed to accrue Saiyku about a 40k score advantage. So this is going to do a lot for him as we move into the second half of the map. But we'll have to see. Saiyku's going to have to find a miss here soon for maybelle to start building up the combo.
Yeah, that's right. There's a 40k. It's 40k going in favor of Saiyku, but at the end of the day, that is pretty minute for the scale of this map, right? These scorelines can shift extremely fast, and for what it's worth, both players finally stabilizing in terms of their combo. It's just, you know, in fact, the accuracy from maybelle is going to be slightly favoring their scoreline as we move into, you know, more of these incredibly intense control sections. And as of right now, we're going to the last quarter of the map. Things are getting tighter and tighter. maybelle is still making it competitive. Saiyku might have held the scoreline, but maybelle is hungry for it back. Going to the last 8 of the map. It's going to be so close towards the very end, right? Next miss will match, and miss comes in from maybelle as Saiyku, I think, very, very comfortably now walks away with that point. What a treacherous DT4.
Yeah, I mean, look, that went how I expected it. That's why I was so scared of this pick. I'm a little bit baffled that maybelle didn't go for the No Mod 6. I think the low AR, Saiyku, like, is just known for not liking low approach rate, I think. But goes for the DT4, and really, I feel like this was a coin flip, and you could see how close it was, really, into the ending. Came down to just a couple slider breaks here and there. Saiyku does take the break point, and now all of a sudden, the match is even, Gammy, because it's Saiyku's pick. So the match is now evened up. It's 4-3. Maybelle's in the lead, but it is Saiyku's pick, meaning, you know, on paper he wins his own pick, and we're tied up 4-4. So this is now not going how I expected it to. Maybelle off to a very strong start, but now Saiyku, if he can pick smartly here, he's going to be in a really good spot. And I think it's probably just going to be Hard Rock 2, man. I think he goes Hard Rock 2. It's generic aim precision. There's nothing weird in it, and he won the No Mod 1. And he's good at Hard Rock. I think it's a good pick.
Really? You wouldn't say the DT? You wouldn't say the DT1 from?
No,
from
I don't think the DT1 is generic at all. I think it's AR 10.5 for one, but it's not like normal farm aim. It's just kind of weird. Like, it's not like unconventional in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of like awkward, right?
But it's not generic. Yeah, it's awkward. So I think you just go Hard Rock 2, but you just go Hard Rock 3. I think this is pretty good for Maybelle as well. So again, I think this one's gonna be pretty close, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, this is a bit of a dicey one, right? You as a player have been losing on a bunch of control picks. You lost on the No Mod 4 as well. So going into a tech pick is always going to be something that's pretty dicey. I do think this Hard Rock 3, we didn't get to see it this round, but it serves as a counterbalance to what the Hidden 3 was, where Hidden 3 is more focused on circle tech. This is a alt tech map that focuses more on that tech element. So there are a lot of big sliders, and overall the map, of course, is going to be on the more awkward side. I mean, you throw up Hard Rock with it all, with the smaller CS, it definitely does throw, you know, a lot of boons to these players when it comes to maintaining consistency. Early stages of the map, I mean, it doesn't give you any room to breathe, right? Maybelle is holding a slight accuracy lead, but that can shift at any time, and the comfort and consistency, your reading is going to be so important for a map like this.
I know I just said that last map was one of the hardest maps in the pool. I think this is the hardest map in the pool. This map is pretty brutal, man. You're going to be able to tell who's practiced it, because there's a lot of really funny slider ticks in here too. But there goes Maybelle with a miss. Quarter of the way through the map. Yeah, you'll be able to tell who's practiced with some of these slider ticks that you can cheese, but here's Maybelle early, and now they see the score as well. That's something to keep in note. It's always important for tournament players when you see that score. It can either make or break someone's play mid-match. So we'll have to see how the players handle it. But that section is kind of absurd, and both players do get through it. Saiyku holding onto the FC. There goes Maybelle again. Accuracy's matching, so Maybelle doesn't even have a leg to stand on. He doesn't have the he doesn't have the combo. Saiyku is going to run away with this.
Yeah, Maybelle just can't seem to get a grip during that KI. Can't seem to find any sort of combo whatsoever. It's a 600 combo going in favor of Saiyku, and it's not looking like it's slowing down anytime soon. Holding both the combo and the accuracy lead now. Last third of the map. And honestly, Saiyku is going demon time. This is a pretty demon time score, right? One of the hardest maps in the pool, and Saiyku is just eating it up. I mean, we were talking about how it's something that maybe favors Maybelle. You know, maybe it's somewhat of a toss-up, but you know, Saiyku is just making us eat our words. This is as decisive as we've seen a pick thus far since the GT3 that Saiyku lost earlier on. What a way to win a point and even up the scoreline 4-4.
Man, I mean, look, accuracies are really similar, you know. Maybelle performing fairly similarly in terms of just raw stats, but Saiyku just comboed it. And he just FC'd the map. That's a very impressive score. Very, very difficult map, especially the FC in a tournament. Takes the FC very convincingly, more than doubles Maybelle's score. And now, all of a sudden, we are even. What started off looking like a bit of a Maybelle sweep, if I'm honest, it looked like it was going to be a 6-1 or a 6-2, is now turned into a 4-4, back to Maybelle's pick. And if he loses this point, if Saiyku breakpoints this, I'm now very worried. But it's got to be the No Mod 6 now, Dammy, right? It's gotta be the No Mod 6.
There's no way he goes DT1, right?
I mean, No Mod 5, I wouldn't be mad either, but it's surely it's No Mod 6.
If we don't go No Mod 6, we actually just hate the custom mapper. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. We actually, wait, who's the mapper for this? I remember it was a really funny. It's really funny. Oh, it's not. Oh, the diff limit. Need advice and get it so real. This No Mod 6 is just so real. But it looks like we're gonna see a Hard Rock 2. Man.
What? Okay.
Man.
I have no idea.
Man. You know that image of like the horse looking out on the sea? This is like that's me. Man. Man.
I'm a bit stunned by this pick. I'll be honest.
I'm not a knower. I'm not a believer.
I mean, he's the player, you know. I'm not Maybelle, but I'm stunned by this pick. For me, on paper, ever since the start of this match, this was a Saiyku pick, and I thought he was going to pick it early. And Maybelle's just picked it in some of the final picks at the end of the match and doesn't go for the lower pro trait against Saiyku.
I mean,
So
that's the thing,
this
right?
This is kind of crazy to me.
That's the thing. I'm like, if Maybelle wanted to go for a precision check, why not go for the Nomad 5 where, you know, it's not about whether it's a good pick, it's about security. Why would you pick into a player that, you know, traditionally is just so well known for their hard rock? Why do this? Why take this risk when you could instead go for the even Nomad playing field that you have shown to be a bit stronger on? But nonetheless, we are getting into hyper precision. This is CS 7.8 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And as of right now, it's gonna be a while before we see any action happen on the field, as you know the map does take a while to get into its action. It's not like the Nomad 5 where you instantly get to see these cuts. No, the difficulty is more of a slow burn for this one.
Look, I'm not saying Maybelle can't win this. He's going to be very well versed on hard rock as well, but like this is the things that I've seen Saiyku do on precision in OWC is absurd. Setting like some of the best scores of the weekend on like precision maps on hard rock. So this is a scary pick, but Maybelle's handling it well right now. Both players are seeing Maybelle on the higher accuracy, which is going to bode well for him. Because this is CS 7.8, there really is nothing too funny or weird in this map. It straight up is just a normal map, but the circles are tiny. So nerves are a massive factor, especially at 4-4. Both players 2 points away, and there goes Maybelle to miss Saiyku now with the opening. A third of the map remaining. If he can hold on for another 5 or 10 seconds, he's going to do enough. Maybelle misses again. And that's already a 100k lead, Gabby. There goes Saiyku.
I think it was enough. No, I think it was enough. The accuracy is basically tied up and only a quarter of the map left. If we don't see any large accuracy drops from either side, I think the scoreline is going to look to stagnate. I mean, look, it's flickering around the 80k mark. The culling is coming as intended, but I don't think it's gonna be fast enough, and it won't be. There's gonna be a halt put to the onslaught as Maybelle unfortunately finds that miss, and Saiyku is in fact going to be the first one to go to match point. I mean, what's happening? What's happening?
From a 4-1 to 4-5, Saiyku wins 4 points straight and gets to match point.
Okay, so Saiyku goes no 6 here. So Saiyku goes.
It goes 4 points straight. Dare I say, off the back of a miss pick from Maybelle. I'm still stunned at the Hard Rock 2 pick there. I don't know why it was picked, but I mean, we'll see if
it's not like Maybelle was bad at it, but like, why did you
good
the risk?
Saiyku, man. Saiyku on precision hard rock, I would never pick that into Saiyku. But
oh man,
it doesn't work out for Maybelle. He was very good on the map, don't get me wrong, but Saiyku just that little bit better today. And now Maybelle goes for the No Mod 5, which again, this is small circles, which makes sense.
This is Saiyku's fit, yeah.
But it is AR9, so I don't know. Like the small circles favor Saiyku, the AR9 probably favors Maybelle. We'll see how this goes.
I can't believe we're seeing 2 precision picks as our last 2 picks, right, man?
Yeah.
I mean, like where the pressure is the highest on these players, we're seeing the maps that get affected the most by the nerves. We're seeing a hyper precision map into a more standard precision map, but of course, where this map leads out to Hard Rock 2 in terms of raw map stats of being about almost 2 CS smaller, this map definitely makes up in the patterning, right? This is a map where the patterning is the main source of the difficulty. We'll see it later, but there are a lot of weird flowing patterns, you know, some XL decel patterns, and a lot of cuts as well. And the difficulty of this map, similar to the Hard Rock 2, is, you know, pretty consistent throughout. So once again, it's going to be about how well these players are on, you know, general precision, and that's gonna dictate how this point goes. Early miss coming in from Maybelle, not looking too good, as Saiyku is now going to hold both the combo and accuracy lead in the earlier stages, but a lot more to be desired on the onset of this map.
Look, so far as well, the AR9 isn't too relevant, but when we get into some of those more awkward stream patterns like you were talking about, where they start to space out like this, the AR9 is definitely going to come into play. How comfortable are you at reading this approach rate? And there goes maybelle to miss multiple times. Saiyku hitting all of the cuts. There's no way he wins 5 points straight and wins the match, right? But there's still time here for maybelle to try and do something, but over a 4% act lead for Saiyku, it's not looking good as we approach the halfway point of this map. Things will start to pick up more and more as we get through this map here, so there's still time, but it's not looking good for maybelle. There goes Saiyku. Okay.
You know what? The best time for Saiyku to miss was, at the start of the match and then a chain miss, but the second best time to miss is now, and Saiyku finally finding that miss, giving maybelle some room to play with. It's not a lot of room, but it's something, it's a start. maybelle is still at a single point of single percent of accuracy down on Saiyku, so it's going to be an uphill battle. But we see more misses coming from Saiyku. We might be able to see something happen. Last quarter of the map, and the accuracy is only going to continue to go down. maybelle needs to keep it together. Mental. It's always been a problem for maybelle, but can he brave through it in the most pivotal moment of the map? He's finally finding the stability that he was missing in the first half of the map, and as you get into the last stages of the map, the scoreline is gonna shift over to the left side.
That's what?
We're not real.
Mental of pure titanium from maybelle to FC the rest of the map and win it by 20k. Oh, this is the match of the weekend, man. And it's the last match too. We finally get to see a tiebreaker on the final match, and it has been a heater so far. What have some of these maps been, man? So damn close in the tail end of this match. And that, I mean, when Saiyku was winning at about 1/3 through that map, if you put the over-under on, like, Saiyku winning that map, man, like, I'm like 98% Saiyku's winning that map at that point.
I'm losing all my 10 points. I'm losing all my 10 points.
I don't even know how maybelle managed to bring that back. Like, everything went perfectly. maybelle had to FC the entire rest of the map, and Saiyku had to miss multiple times, and both of those things somehow just happened. And maybelle wins it by 20k, and now we see the tiebreaker. And what a way to see it. The only tiebreaker of the weekend, and I always do this, Gammy, whenever I cast. I always look through the map pool. I never look at the tiebreaker because I love casting tiebreakers blind. It's so sick.
I'll give you a bit of the scoop. This tiebreaker is, this tiebreaker. If you look at the artist lineup, right? This is what Hyoka, Ko, and TBN. Ko has been one of the fastest rising OS original creators and just composers in general in the OS scene. I believe he worked on Frostwalker for his Catch World Cup in 2024, and so he's a very, very familiar face to see in tiebreakers. Always tiebreakers, right away. I never see this guy outside of a tiebreaker. Co-maps are pretty similar to what you'd expect from like Camellia, right? It's all about tech. Like, it just has tech written all over it. If you remember what you saw from the No More 4, where it was a good blend of sliders, where it was a good blend of aim control, imagine that, but then taken all the way for an incredibly grueling 5 minutes and 2 seconds. So, really, in addition to the difficulty of No More 4, imagine that you're overlaying it with the tenacity required from the No More 1. And so, in that sense, Mavs, I like to present the sort of tension that we have right now. maybelle, being the player that's stronger on tech overall, but seemingly slightly what
am I looking at?
So we are just throwing. What are we doing? You had an entire preparation for this tiebreaker. And I see this from Saiyku.
That's okay. If he wins this with Hard Rock, I have no words. I'm betting all my channel points on him next week.
Prospects are looking up. Welcome to Monso on and off for 5 minutes and 2 seconds. All gonna be about this tech mayhem. We'll have to see if the gamblers pay off. Saiyku on the Hard Rock, maybelle on the No More, as the build up slowly but surely builds in. Saiyku finds the first miss, but there is still a lot of runtime in this map, a lot of room for error when it comes to maybelle's combo. So we're gonna have to see once again. I cannot stress this enough. We're going to see if this gamble will pay off.
Yeah, and if you're unfamiliar with tournaments, you know, you're an MREC viewer, you haven't seen too many tournaments, the Tiebreaker, the map that's obviously played when both players are on match point, they don't get to pick the map, and it's generally just a mixture of most skill sets in the game to prove who really is the better player. Something to note, the Tiebreaker is usually the hardest map in the pool as well, so a map that's going to be considerably more difficult than a lot of the other maps in this pool, and you get to take a mod of your choice, optionally. So to see Saiyku take Hard Rock, this is something that is never seen in a tournament. No one does this on a Tiebreaker because it's troll. But he right now is tearing this map up on Hard Rock, but maybelle does have the FC. So lead still in the favor of maybelle. Something to note, if Saiyku does hold this combo, he will have a slight score multiplier advantage because of the Hard Rock. He's shaking so much and somehow manages to hit that. 5 minutes of this map in store for us, and both players are about 1,000 combo as Saiyku begins to approach it now.
Oh my goodness, we move out of that first KI, and as it stands right now, this is the matchup that we have to contend with. 1.1k from maybelle, and going to 1k from Saiyku. We move into the eye of the hurricane. The calm before the storm. Consistency is king here. But how much consistency can you even have when you're forced into such difficult conditions with Hard Rock, right? We move into to a hardcore section, a hard style section, all about these large sliders clearing the screen right now. Indicative of what we saw from the No Mod 4, but dissimilar to the No Mod 4. Saiyku caught on maybelle's tail, but he will not get far as maybelle leaves him in the dust with the No Mod.
It was on a high velocity reverse slider. One of the fastest reverse sliders I've ever seen, and Saiyku slider breaks on it. And it looks like if maybelle can hold for a bit longer, it might already be wraps. There is, of course, the Hard Rock multiplier to take into account, so there's a little bit more wiggle room for Saiyku, but not that much, all things considered. So maybelle's going to have to miss here soon, and it looks like we have a slow section. So I don't know how much time there really is here for Saiyku.
Yeah, but like in contrast to the slow section that we saw before, right? There isn't a big looming threat on the right side for us to really build the tension here. Right now, it's just a question of how much can maybelle squeeze out of it. You know, normally this 100k scoreline wouldn't be a lot on a conventional map, but on a 5-minute long tiebreaker, it is going to be very, very difficult to make up as we move into the last KI of the map. It's a 2k score. maybelle passes that 2k threshold and finds the miss. And now with that 500 on the recovery, but he will not get far as maybelle comfortably shuts down any hope of the Hard Rock Gambit. And with that, a 170k going to a 200k scoreline in favor of the left side as we run through the hardest sections of the map into the last quarter.
Unfortunately for Saiyku, I think he had to hold that combo to have any chance. maybelle does miss again, so Saiyku does have a combo lead now, but I just think 180,000 points is too much, and it's too little too late for Saiyku. The gamble, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to pay off for him, but there he goes as well, missing. That is going to be GG.
You know what, Mavs? Saiyku might have lost this point, but he has most definitely won the hearts of all the people. All 554 viewers right now are all looking at Saiyku in awe. Maybe not because he won the match, but because of because of the performance that he's been able to show on a tiebreaker with Hard Rock, no less. I think even if Saiyku walks away from this a loser, he can hold his head high, knowing that he gave us a show.
I cannot understate how much more difficult Saiyku just made this map by putting Hard Rock on it. He basically just increased the difficulty of this tiebreaker by like 3 to 4 stages of the tournament by putting Hard Rock on that. A lot of people would say completely and utterly troll from Saiyku to put Hard Rock, but he's a man of the people, and he did it for the entertainment, I guess. Puts the Hard Rock on for the content, and unfortunately does not take the match home. He was so damn close This was 4-1 to Maybelle, by the way. Saiyku won 4 points straight and went to match point. Maybelle swings it back with one of the most ridiculous comebacks on a map I've maybe ever seen in a tournament. I don't know how he even won that No Mod 5. And then wins the tiebreaker off of the content play from Saiyku.
That's how we make content. That's how we make cinema.
That was awesome.
Oh my goodness, it's been such a pleasure to be able to cast this entire series, and I believe that is going to be a wrap for the round of 16. I do believe that the quarterfinals is going to happen next week, so to all the viewers in chat, do hop on by if you are interested in seeing hopefully another week full of exciting and hype matches. Nobody's quite eliminated yet, so you should be able to see at least, I believe, 8 matches coming in next week. But Matt, any last words from you, man?
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic match. It was a pleasure to cast. I'm so glad I jumped on for this one. That was an awesome match. But yeah, Maybelle going up against Zintex next week in the upper bracket. That should be a banger. But good luck with how Zintex has been playing in 3-digit World Cup. That guy is actually Thanos. So good luck against Zintex there. But that should be a good match if Maybelle shows up to play. And Saiyku moving on down into the lower bracket to go up against a meal bus. So New Zealand versus New Zealand there in the lower bracket. Friendly fire. And yeah, I mean, that's going to do it for us for this week. And be sure to tune in next week for the quarterfinals. And I believe we will have a map pool showcase and whatnot whenever that is. I don't know when it is. I'm sure there'll be a ping for it. But yeah, that's been us. I've been Mavs and this has been Gammy. And yeah, thanks all for watching. Make sure you tune in for the quarterfinals. What a banger to end it on. Thanks,
Oceanic Cup signing out. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Take care.